Hey guys, welcome back to another Dark Side Hero Guide. Today, we'll be going over the powerful hero that is General Grievous. Grievous is an incredibly fun hero to play in any mode, on any map, partly because of his ability to do so good and partly because of his unique, nimble playstyle. Today, in this video, we'll be going over his base stats, including health, damage, and stamina, then abilities with their stats and keynotes. Next is Trooper game modes, going over tips, star cards, and best maps. Then finally hero game modes with tips, star cards, and heroes to watch out for. All of this information and tips are designed to help you destroy with Grievous. If you're only interested in a certain part of this video, then you can skip ahead by looking at the timestamps on the scroll bar. Also, if this video does help you out or you just enjoy the video, then I would appreciate it if you left a like to help out the video and subscribe to see more content just like this. Most of you guys aren't subscribed, so it would be great to get those numbers up. But now, getting into the video. Grievous is another hero with good and bad stats. He specializes in high health and damage, but has a weak amount of stamina, which can make him hard to play. Grievous's base health is a high 800, which is the equal highest of all blasters. This gives him a solid amount to be able to take on more damage and be in a bit riskier situations. He has a health regen of 250, which is the average amount, but that can be raised to a high 350 regen with the star card Beating Heart. To go along with this though, Grievous does have a slower regen rate. Grievous's lightsabers are the ones he stole from Jedi. He has an average lightsaber damage of 130 to the front and 160 to the back, but that can be raised to a really high amount of 160 and 190 with the Sith Train. Grievous's stamina is by far his weakest point when it comes to base stats. He can only block 10 swings and attack 12 times. It's not absolutely horrible, but what else is absolutely horrible is his blaster deflections. He can block a very limited amount of blaster shots, so whatever you do, don't have your strategy be when you're approaching an enemy, especially a hero, to just hold block and advance. Grievous then does have an average swing speed of 1.7 swings per second. Grievous has some really good abilities that can do a lot of damage, and are really important to be used well in order for him to do well. But you also have to be careful as each ability can be parried quite easily. Grievous's left ability is Thrust Surge. Grievous takes out all 4 of his lightsabers and knocks and lunges at his enemies, dealing damage and knocking them down. It does 160 damage, which is enough to one-shot all infantry except the heavies, but it does knock your target, which gives them a chance to do at least 1 if not 2 extra hits on your enemy. It has a decent range of 15 meters and also a decent cooldown of 13 seconds. For my keynotes, you need to remember that you can be easily parried when you use this ability. So when you are going against lightsaber heroes, make sure you are okay taking a hit. This ability, along with Claw Rush, is one you need to use to close the distance on enemies. Grievous can't rely on his block, so if you're in a spot where your enemy could do a lot of damage while you're trying to get them, then use this ability. This ability is easily the best way to deal with blaster heroes since it does a good job of getting you close to them, while you can easily get in some good damage from knocking them down. The ideal combo is Thrust Surge, 2 lightsaber swings, then Claw Rush, as long as you hit Thrust Surge, you can do a good amount of damage. Grievous's middle ability is Unrelenting Advance. Grievous once again takes out all 4 of his lightsabers, and this time spins them around just like he did in Revenge of the Sith. It does heavy damage to anyone it hits and will block blasters and lightsabers. It does 110 damage every half a second, which is pretty good. It has a duration of 5 seconds and a decently short cooldown of 11 seconds. For my keynotes, don't use this ability much. Against heroes, blasters can easily dodge behind you and deal damage, lightsabers can easily dash behind you or hook swing really easily since you have a very limited block angle. And that's when the block actually does work. It's only good for toying with beginners who have no idea what a stupid idea it is to swing at Grievous when he is using Unrelenting Advance. If done right, it can occasionally do good against other characters if they are alone. It can also be okay to get back some stamina and cool down the pace of a duel if you need to get your stamina, health, or more important abilities back. It's also pretty useless against infantry, since if there is a group of enemies, they will easily surround you, and if you're going up against only a few infantry, then it's just much better to use your base attack. Grievous's right ability is Claw Rush. Grievous crawls forward to his enemies, knocking them down and damaging them as he rams into them. It does 130 damage, which can be increased to a solid 180 to one-hit enemies. It also gives Grievous 40% damage reduction, making it so that he doesn't take full damage and get melted by blasters and lightsabers. It also has a decent cooldown of 13 seconds. For my keynotes, you are once again vulnerable to attacks. So while they can't do full damage, lightsabers can still hurt you, as you are also easily parryable by them. A really important thing is to spin around to hit people. When you turn at sharp angles, you will often hit people as their block breaks, or you just spin sharply, you will just be able to hit them from the back, where they can't block. This is something you need to master to get down Grievous's Claw Rush, so you can start hitting a lot more people with it. This can also be a useful tactic to escape combat, so if your block ever drops and there's a group of enemies, then Claw Rush will be a free bailout. Since you also move so fast and do so much damage, it's by far the best way to take out multiple enemies with Grievous. Also, don't waste this ability. It's Grievous's best way to take down multiple enemies, so it's not good for just taking down 1 or 2 enemies that aren't threats. Otherwise, Grievous can get in a lot of trouble without it. Grievous is incredibly good in Galactic Assault and Supremacy. He can take out enemies like it's nothing, with his high damage and good movement. That is, if you don't get surrounded by enemies without Claw Rush, spammed by a lightsaber hero, run out of stamina while attacking enemies in the wide open, and you get the point, it can be difficult at times. For my first tip, dodge in and out of cover. Whatever you do, don't stay still. It won't work out. You will get surrounded and run out of stamina. So it's not necessarily a hit and run playstyle like Luke or Maul, but you constantly need a place to hide and regenerate health. So like Luke and Maul, you do need to constantly be aware of what's going on, unlike Obi-Wan where you can have plenty of stamina and regen. But it's not horrible, as Grievous does already have good health. You also cannot swing spam. Something I have issue with is just swing spamming when I don't think someone is a threat. But most of the time it's okay, and you can do fine. But with Grievous, that's not the case. First off is his low swing speed. He can be avoided easier than others, plus of course the low stamina. So one mistake and you're in trouble. A really important thing is to not go after heroes unless it's necessary or an easy kill. Because you get into trouble so quickly, you'll quickly run out of stamina and abilities. Then you're left facing a hero that now wants to kill you and likely enemies around them. Other than that, Grievous has a pretty cut and dry playstyle. He's not someone that's super aggressive by Luke, but he's like everyone else. You just gotta attack at the right spots and defend where you can. Grievous has some good star cards overall, but I do have my favorite loadout. The first card is Beating Heart. This card raises Grievous's health regen to a solid 350 health. This card is definitely really important, as that extra regen just makes Grievous so much stronger, since he can survive more and isn't punished as much for his abilities. The next very important card is Line Up Weaklings. This card gives extra damage to Grievous's Claw Rush, allowing it to one-shot all infantries except heavy. Without it, it's much harder for Grievous to get kills with Claw Rush, and it will mean he has to get up to finish off each enemy. The last card is Sith Trained. This gives Grievous extra damage to his lightsabers, allowing him to one-shot all infantry except heavies. It does also reduce stamina though, so you have to be extra careful of that. There are also good cards such as Jedi Killer and Flesh is Weak, so you can use those. Grievous really is a hero that is good for any map, but really the closer the range the better. So the first one is Naboo, and it always will be. It's the perfect kill streak map. The second map is Death Star 2. Grievous's Claw Rush dominates so much on this map, and his high damage lightsabers take care of his enemies extremely well. The last map is Kashyyyk. It's another good kill streak map, and all of the constant cover that there is a huge help. Grievous can definitely be difficult to play in Heroes vs Villains and Hero Showdown, but he can also do just as good with his damage. Plus he does have some decent health. Grievous is also a hero that does really well with backup, to help him with his stamina and do better with his abilities. For my tips, Keep Moving is taken to a whole nother level, because he can already block relatively few swings and a crappy amount of blaster bolts standing still, so standing still won't keep you alive. Against lightsabers, I'm constantly dodging around and doing jump swings. Jump swings are very nice because it's a way for you to easily attack while you usually being low risk. Plus you can swing faster while using them. Against blaster heroes, I'm usually doing the same stuff with dodges and jump swings, but I'm also jumping high a lot. You move fast so it makes you hard to hit, while also allowing you to move closer to your enemy. The other thing is to constantly find cover, so that way you have an advantage over your enemies and can constantly come out to attack them, while it's hard for them to hit you. Against blasters, you can't waste your abilities and miss them, or else it's going to be a lot harder to do good unless you can somehow dodge around for enough seconds. So really the perfect playstyle is to be jumping and dodging, then using your abilities to get people weak, then defend, use your abilities, and repeat. For my star cards, beating heart is just as important because the extra health helps out so much. Then I like line up weaklings because of the extra damage. Then the last real good one is cowardly retreat. This card gives 90% damage reduction to Grievous when he uses Claw Rush. This can save him a lot of health, as a good player can easily deal a couple hundred damage to you without this card. But once again, Jedi Killer and Flesh is Weak are also very good cards. The last thing I'll be going over is heroes to watch out for. Grievous in my mind is especially weak against Han because his abilities counter Grievous and his high damage blaster will instantly melt Grievous' stamina. The next hero is Leia, since she has such a high damage with her regular blaster in E11, which will absolutely destroy his stamina and make his health bar disappear very quickly. The last hero is Obi-Wan. His high regen makes it hard for Grievous to do good damage, and his high stamina will always be at a higher amount than Grievous, making him have to be extra careful about his stamina conservation. But that is all for my General Grievous hero guide. He is such a fun hero that dominates at all times. Hopefully this video helped you out. If it did, then remember to hit that notification bell so you don't miss any more of these hero guides. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.